Hello and welcome to episode 514 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and joining me as always is the artist and creator of the epic webcomic series Vanguard, and probably one of the busiest men on the internet, it's Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And I mean that busy in all kinds of ways, much like Tony Esmond is, but that's due to his browser history being quite full.
Why is it just porn on X? Why is it just porn things?
To be fair, there's a lot of racism as well.
I haven't been on that.
The bad side as well, then.
So welcome to the show, everyone. We're not here to talk about social media.
No.
If we were, we'd probably grumble for an hour and a half. But we'll just grumble about other things instead.
Yeah, incoming.
It is Tony, Dan, and Vince for the whole of May. Yes. Get your maracas out for the lads because it's Three aMAYgos month.
Yeah, 3 aMAYgos month. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's get t-shirts.
So basically, there's going to be no guests, but a shitload of comic book talk.
Yeah.
And just the three of us.
Probably go off the rails.
Could it get any? Look, buckle up. It'll probably go off the rails pretty quickly this week.
I'm giving it 10 minutes.
By the end of the month, we'll be at each other's throats in the sexiest kind of way, of course. But yeah, we just as the weather has taken a turn for the better, which also means that we as British people will complain about that as well.
I was complaining yesterday.
Yeah, because it was too hot. Oh, I caught the sun. I'm a bit tired. I need a nap. Things like that. And but when you have a nap, just before you have a nap, perhaps you got some time to read some comics. And
Good point, Vince. Good point.
Yeah, there's always those.
Even when you're on the loo, read some comics.
Do you think?
Great time.
Comics. Like just reading in general, we've got plenty of topics, by the way, this week. So we'll get straight into it, including something that's a bit of sad news, which Tony will get into in a second. But
yeah,
comic reading habits. Are they stolen moments? Do you try and like read comics whenever you can, or is it just, or do you prefer to have? I'm going to sit down in my comfy chair, cup of coffee, or in a coffee shop or something like that, and here's my reading time.
No, I've always got them with me.
Okay.
So, coffee shop, on the couch, while my missus is watching crap, lunchtime at work, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've always got something within reach, I think.
Do you think that's helped more because of like the rise and accessibility of digital comics as well? So even if you don't have to have like several kilograms worth of floppies in your.
It's when you go on holiday, isn't it? You notice it now. Because I used to I'll take these trades. Well, that's enough for 2 days.
Yeah.
You end up with a bag full of comics. But
and also, if you're on holiday, you're going to come back probably with a few comic books if there's a comic store.
Yeah, in the right place. Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
I kind of have to plan my day in my head, and I'll allot time to say, right, at this time I'm going to be reading comics. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm on a commute or. Like I said, the boss is watching TV. Is that I'm gonna read comics at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can read comics where there's noise on. I don't have any trouble sort of focusing.
No, yeah.
I think I could read them in the fucking boiler room. A bit like meditation. You should be able to do it anywhere.
Like in the boiler room when the boss is watching TV. What is this strange, mysterious life that Dan Butcher gets up to?
The life of Butcher. It's what we want to hear about.
It's something maybe we'll explore as the month goes on.
You don't want to, you really.
Well, I mean, we record this on Zoom, and every week, listeners, just a little behind the scenes, he's being harassed by his cat every week.
You're probably being harassed today. That's the worst I've seen it.
He's my best mate. He absolutely loves being.
What the fuck are we, Tony?
Oh, that's
unbelievable!
Nice,
live on air, he's
that's
just
nice.
absolutely
514 episodes.
What waste of time!
Fuck this game. I'm off.
I'm his best mate, but I don't consider him my best mate.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's how he feels about us.
Yep.
You're one of my best mates. One of.
The mystery deepens.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That's my new phrase. I say it all the time and it throws people off. In the middle of a little work meeting, just say something like, the mystery deepens. And everyone's like, what's he fucking going on about? What's going on?
Do you ever have like phrases that you just really love using at the time and you use them constantly?
Oh yeah.
For like a month period, and then you don't touch them again.
Move on.
Yeah. Last month it was what the sooty think, and my sooty glove puppet appears, whispers in my ear. That was what I used to like doing.
Have you seriously got a sooty glove puppet?
I've literally got 2 of them.
Right. Nice. Next time, on next week's episode, we want, because look, we've been trying to get. I know he's called in a couple of times on this show, but I actually want to see him on camera next week. Oh, this is exciting, Dan, isn't it? We get to talk to him on air. One of the
slightly over enthusiastic older professors at my place. He's become a bit of a geezer now because I talk. He tries to join a bit, and Sooty appeared the other day and he went, "Who the fuck's that? Your brother?"
Oh, that's poor.
Yeah. I don't want
poor banter.
I don't want to really sort of bring the sort of mood down or like drag us into the gutter, as normally I'm the one trying to keep us out of it. But I've got to say it. Someone must have jerked off while wearing a sooty hand puppet, right?
With the hand puppet.
Yeah, with the hand puppet.
There's no degeneracy. I don't think people.
I guarantee that's happened.
Yeah. Do you think they pretend that it's sooty?
I don't think they pretended at all.
Do you know what's disgusting about it? He can't speak up, can he?
No. At least with squeak, you get that little squeaking noise every time you do your. Maybe it's that they can do a Shanghai shotgun with him.
I don't know what that is. Maybe another dictionary corner coming up.
You know when you've got a shotgun and you just ratchet it like that.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It's just one. You just do one.
Oh, when the one-handed, the one that Van Damme loves doing in action movies, like.
Yeah, but it's just one. You just do one of them.
What?
No up and down.
Hang on. Are we talking about pump action shotguns? Or are we talking about your
penises?
No. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would explain. I've never seen Van Damme do that.
No. I've never
only in your dreams.
You can only do it in one.
I haven't seen them all, but I don't believe it does that. But yeah, the Shanghai shotgun is apparently just one. Apparently, if somebody can do it to you, it's just one.
No, I have a problem with that. That's a skin tearer, surely.
It's quite aggressive, isn't it?
You just got to do it at home, folks. No, don't do it at home.
Got to be in the right mood, I guess, haven't you?
Yeah.
Got to be in the right mood.
Yeah.
Dan's thinking about trying it.
You can see it. It's almost like you can see the algebra around his head.
Yeah, and the mischievousness in his face.
No.
I think I've got to be in the right mood. Got to be in the right mood.
Got to be in the right mood. Yeah.
The boss.
Light some candles.
I've got put 999 on speed dial just in case it will go fucking wrong.
Put on some Kenny G.
Just Google banjo string.
Grab Sooty and just fucking go.
Explaining, vocalizing that into fucking Siri.
I'd have to have
Ride of the Valkyries goes on.
I'd have to have Sooty on backwards because I wouldn't want him looking at me during it.
No, awful.
Yeah.
Poor Sooty.
But you couldn't though, could you? Because it would have to be like, what has this show become? But it would have to be like
degeneracy one way or the other.
Like he's got to hold it.
Yeah, but he can do it from backwards, can't you?
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because Sooty can't put his hands behind his back, can he?
No, you put the puppet round the other way around. So
puppet?
What are you talking about, puppet?
No, sorry, I was talking about something else. But when
he broke the verisimilitude there, didn't he? Completely. He just broke it.
Sorry, I was very much in the now.
Too much of a realist. Anyway.
We'll never make actors.
No. Yeah. By the way, if you are on your morning jog or walking to work, or maybe you're on the bus or whatever, and you did just laugh out loud about that, we're not sorry.
Shanghai shotgun.
There's got to be a band called that. That's got to be a great. That's a great band name. Yeah. Anyway, before we kick off, and we'll probably. Look,
you're about to go into. This is going to take some doing.
Right. But and I just want to say we're gonna get serious for a second. The show's going to go back into degeneracy probably soon enough, as well as some. We've got some interesting topics to the three of us to discuss, and as always, whatever we talk about on this week's show. Keep the conversation going on our Slack group. Please join the wonderful community of people on there. Get in touch with us to find out there, or when we post on Instagram, or maybe on your own social feeds, or wherever it is that you use. If anything gets your mind bubbling and you want to talk more about these particular topics, then do so, because discourse and discussion is what it's all about. And that's how we learn anything.
Especially if you don't agree with us around something, we're quite happy to listen to a reasonable discussion.
Exactly. But before we kick off on all that, there's a bit of sad news, isn't there, Tony, if you want to kick us off with this?
Yeah, so big news this week. The big sad news is we lost Jackson, aka Butch Guise. I'm never sure about Guise or Guise, so I'm going with Guise.
Yeah, I've always said Guise, but I'm prepared to be wrong. But
a mainstay of our comics reading for decades, I'm going to say. And only 63 he died. So I know we had a conversation before we started recording, but that's like 5 years older than me. Incredible. Yeah. Across so much of the US comics industry, although like a lot of people who we respect, just top of my head, Steve Dillon, he started in fanzines as well, which is quite nice. His actual first American comics paid for work was ghosting Pat Broderick on Rom Annual #1, which I didn't know till I looked at it today. So that was probably where I first saw him, to be fair. And then, I mean, he's all over everything. I mean, massively. I put together just a small, minimal bit of his work. So X Factor, New Mutants, Badger, Nexus, Flash. He did that post-crisis Flash with Mike Baron, Wally West, where they sort of slightly realised it into the real world, if you see what I mean. So he was having to eat more and stuff like that, and it laid up a lot for what we're seeing now. And that first 10 issues, great little run, really good. Death Superman, Micronauts, Valiant Comics. He did loads of Valiant issues. I think Ninjak, Eternal Warrior, Turok. He did Ruse at CrossGen with Mark Waid, which I was a big fan of, which I think we talked about a few weeks ago, didn't we? It was the sort of Sherlock Holmes kind of ballpark kind of character. Iron Man, Hulk, Cap. He did the Invaders in 2019. Secret Avengers. He did some great stuff in that Secret Avengers. Winter Soldier. We kind of got a bit of a name for it. I think it's the second series of Winter World he did. But more recently, something I've been paying attention to him on Instagram, and it's come up in conversations with Johnny Cannon and me talking about him. So he had like a big respect for comics history, and he would talk about OG comic and comic strip artists, and just say, look at this Johnny Craig art. These sort of guys. The big people that this crew learned from.
Yeah.
I know we're speaking to Joe on the Drink and Draw on Friday, and he was saying that he would reply to some of those. He'd say, mention, and Butch would talk to him about it. That he'd actually have conversations with fans, which I really liked. There's a great, I think Strotty put me in the direction of it. Chuck Dixon wrote a lovely sort of R.I.P. Butch piece where, I mean, they were big friends from the CrossGen days. So anyone who doesn't know about the CrossGen created a studio. People had to move to, was it Florida? I'm going to say Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they had to move there. And
CrossGen,
it was very much.
Do you know? I think CrossGen's a fascinating time for comics, and like there were certainly people that, whether it was like big names that moved over to it or names that then became sort of bigger names. I think it's a fascinating and overlooked. I think it'd be interesting for us to look at that for an episode at one point.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Much like Malibu, I think CrossGen was another Malibu, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's almost an overlooked in the certainly modern comics. People
massively, and you got to realise that I don't think we'd have had Image Comics without Malibu.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah.
And CrossGen did this whole studio thing where everyone had to go in the office and work.
Yeah. That was a big thing. I mean, I regularly talk about the Wizard Comic days, but CrossGen were all over Wizard Comics, wasn't it?
Like Perez was down there, Wade was down there, all these guys, some really good creators. There's some really interesting stuff that came out. And don't forget, we're completely off the subject now, but don't forget they did those like trades which are anthologies.
Yeah.
Of the different areas of it. I think that's a really missed idea, I think. A bit like the Japanese have been so successful with it, with that sort of anthology, weekly anthology thing. Anyway, so Jackson passed away. I'm a massive fan. He's always coming up as like, I think me and Al Henderson did an NIA on Resurrection Man, who he created with Andy Lanning and who's the other? Who's the bloke worked with Andy Lanning?
Dan Abnett.
Dan Abnett, yeah, DNA. He created them with them, and he was just solid, good comics, wasn't he? And those are the guys we're missing. Yeah, we really are. And we're talking about my review. My recommendation later is I got to the back of it and it says will be coming soon with fucking Jackson Guise.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that's been completed. That's a sad day. Yeah, well, I'll miss him. Good, seemed like a proper pro to me.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's another one of those creators that, I mean, obviously, probably a favourite of a lot of people's, but I think there's many readers who are unaware that they were reading and checking out their work.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's just like I don't want to say workman like. It's just he made good comics that were readable.
And sometimes there's these creators where the stories and the characters themselves, they take over the marketing or whatever, or what the popular culture zeitgeist, so we don't always think about the people behind them. And Tony, the Death of Superman, that was fucking enormous when that came out.
I've got a feeling he co-created Apocalypse as well. I think he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was so big that crossed over into the mainstream for comics.
Yeah.
Which, when's
the
last time that happened?
Exactly. But we know Death of Superman, but do we know all the architects behind it? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So sad news. Lost another one.
Sitting it.
Yeah.
Too young.
Hopefully we won't. I know we're almost halfway through the year. Doesn't feel like last year. I think was a bit of a bastard in terms of like people. This year, touch wood, touching my forehead there. Hopefully we don't lose many more Titans. So fingers crossed that we won't be doing these little art sort of notifications.
There's a few people up there in age as well, aren't there? That's the problem.
Yeah. And and certainly a lot of these creators, and shame on society as a whole. It's only when they're gone that people decide to realise how fucking brilliant and epic they were. So if you have a creator that maybe isn't getting on in years, or maybe they haven't done it for a while, or maybe they're just chugging away and not really saying anything, just fucking, if they're on social media or anything, just sort of say, I fucking love your work, man. It's amazing.
I think I heard Jason Wood say this on EOC this week, and it's something I've heard him say before, is if you're at a convention and there's a creator there, just go and shake their hand and say thank you. It's when they're the older guys. I've been making a point of doing it.
Yeah.
And almost like I just haven't spoken. I just want to speak to these people. I haven't spoken to them before, and I just want to almost tick them off my little list of thanking them.
And I
made a big impact in your life.
Yeah, they have for us, haven't they?
Yeah. A lot of these creators, let's be honest, when a lot of us are at conventions or at these bigger conventions, or perhaps you're a younger comics reader or comics maker at the convention, and they might just look like old people to you, just sat at a table very, very quiet. But if you know who they are and you love their work, like you're saying, Tony, just go up and just sort of say, I don't want to keep you, I just want to say thank you very much. You don't have to get anything signed. You can just go up to them and go, just really appreciate it. Me and Dan, it was years ago now, but when we had a brief interaction with like Marv Wolfram, wasn't it?
That was great. I was jealous of you two guys. That was great. And like when we had Mike Zeck, was the same weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was super nice.
And it was more great. A case of, we weren't up there to go, oh, can we talk to you for the podcast? It's more like, oh, I just love the work.
Yeah.
And it brings the walls down, doesn't it, really?
Totally.
All the time.
There's a lot of people I missed never talking to. I never got to speak to Jack, but I got to speak to Stan. I got to speak to Carmine Infantino and Jim Colan and all this sort of thing. And recently, Cliff often ribs me about it, but when we did The Last Heroes and I got to speak to all the guys there, and I'm like, I got a bit misty-eyed. I got a bit choked up. These guys just created my childhood.
Titans, man.
Yeah. Absolute Titans. So, pour one out for all the great creators out there, because they certainly have influenced generations who have influenced generations who have. It just goes on, infinitum.
Yeah.
But from that, back into we're going to talk about more comics topics, and of course, speaking of topics, Dan's got a little rant in a moment, but we just want.
I'm not sure if it's
it's not going to be a rant, but it's going to be a discussion.
Rant.
But of course, as we record this, Free Comic Book Day was yesterday. So hopefully, it's weird. Maybe it's because I'm not online as much in.
It certainly didn't have as much buzz. A lot of people put a lot of effort into it, but
I was thinking, is it me that's not seeing as much, or because I know, for instance, one thing that's changed with Free Comic Book Day, well, not changed, but they offer digital ones as well, don't they? They do sort of.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I believe
there's loads of people giving away free digital versions.
Yeah. Yeah, which is great. You know, if you have a favourite indie creator that you follow, around Free Comic Book Day, just pay attention to their feeds. You know, because there's loads of great free comics that just for a day they're like, look, just have the first issue, the first 2 issues or something like that. Because as an independent creator, I think it's a great idea as well. Just to offer.
Yes, it's a win-win.
You know,
the thing is, I didn't go this year. It's one of the first years I think I haven't gone. I was working yesterday quite a lot, so I wouldn't have got the chance to go. But I don't know if I had the sort of realization yesterday that I didn't get any FOMO out of it for a change. Okay. But I think the reason being is I don't think it's for me, Free Comic Book Day. Totally. And I think the comic people who go there and try and get like 50 comics or something like that are taking a piss. It's for two lots of people. It's for people who are rediscovering or new to the industry, new to the hobby, and for kids. They're the 2 areas. Yeah. And I know I don't always speak well of my comic shop, but they did do really well this time. They had a sort of drawing thing, a kids' table drawing thing. Good. That's good. And Alexis Deakin, who's a buddy of ours from Nobrow, he did Guise. He was there drawing for the kids and stuff. And I think that's for who it's for now.
Yeah. I mean, looking at
trying to get new punters in, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As well as it should. And hope to all of you lovely comic book stores out there, if you had a Free Comic Book Day, I hope it brought people in, and those people also bought something else while they were there.
It used to be what we always told people to do, didn't we? When we were
I personally, you know, I mean, I've walked into comic book shops and walked out without buying anything because I didn't see anything that really I liked. But like, I on a Free Comic Book Day, it almost sounds hypocritical now that I've just said that, but I like to think that if you're going in, you're not just going in for freebies. You're going to have at least a walk around the shop and see if there's anything else.
Yeah, I saw a lot because I sort of worked the table at Chaos City a few years running for New Comic Book Day, just as like to help out. And there's a lot of people who just come in, grab as many as they can. You know, you have to stop people grabbing 2 or 3 issues of things. The cynical old me went and looked on eBay today, and there was a few that I noticed. So I think the hottest ticket was the Energon Universe Free Comic Book Day one. Yeah. I looked on eBay. Some of them are going for 15 quid on there now.
Yeah.
The Transformers Worst Bot Ever. That was another hot ticket, I think. Yeah. Best of 2000 AD was there. I know a couple of our American slackers were saying that was... I think it might have been Alan, actually, was saying the Free Comic Book Day, they had a Best of 2000 AD. I think they had it here as well, but they certainly had it in America. And you can find that for about 8 quid on eBay now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 3... So I went to the comic shop this morning. So those that don't know, we're recording on the Sunday, the day after it. I went and got... They had 3 in my pull list, which is good of them. Really good of them.
That's good. Yeah.
I got the 2 Marvel ones, which is the Fantastic Four, which is a flip book with the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Amazing Spider-Man one, which is kind of flip book with all different versions of Spider-Man and stuff. And I got the All-In Free Comic Book Day, which is the Superman, which is a flip book.
Yeah, like which many of them are going to do. I think there's a list I got. I'll just run through it. It's interesting you say about like the sort of audiences that this event is for.
Oh, okay.
Now, Tony, I just got the list from freecomicbookday.com of the ones that were there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly run through it. It's not a massive list.
Of course, there's the conversation. This might be the last one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
because it's Diamond, it might be gone. I mean, there's all kinds of fanning around this week, aren't there?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so if this is the last one, then what do you think of this as a lineup?
Okay.
Archie's Comic Spectacular.
Always do one, don't they?
Power Rangers VR Troopers. Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures with Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's a double issue. Thundercats and Powerpuff Girls. I Hate Fairyland, Speed Racer, Fantastic Four / X-Men, which I guess is the one you got today.
Yeah.
Spider-Man / Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
Disney's Phineas and Ferb. Dr. Seuss, the Free Comic Book Day exclusive. Energon Universe, the special. Conan the Barbarian.
The Titan one.
I believe, yes, it is. Minecraft, the manga, and Beyblade X. Okay. There's other titles. There's a Valiant Universe one.
I see. I missed that one. What did you say about the Valiant one?
I'll click. Doesn't say that actually. It just has it on the list. It looks to be a zombie.
Okay.
Valiant Zombies Resurrection seems to be what it is.
Okay.
Boom Studios 20th anniversary special. These are what they call silver sponsor titles.
Yeah.
Now, Critical Role and Black Hammer, so that's a Dark Horse one. We got Gargoyles, Demona, which is one of the characters from Gargoyles. Yeah. Lost Marvels from Fantagraphic Books. Bad Kitty Gets a Job from First Second Books. Godzilla, The New Heroes from IDW.
Right.
IDW Dark.
Godzilla's everywhere at the moment.
Yeah. IDW Dark, Find Your New Fear, which I guess is just a selection of horror clips, etc.
It's probably the boss, isn't it? Dan?
Keen Spot Toy Box 2025 special from Keen Spot Entertainment. Mark Spears Monsters from Keen Spot Entertainment. Tower Dungeon and Isaac, which seems to be manga. There's a few more manga. Yeah. The Phantom issue 0 from Man Cave. Iron Man and his awesome friends, Spidey and his amazing friends. Ironheart / Marvel's Voices issue 1. Star Wars issue 1. I'm so fucking sick of Star Wars comics. Well, also the issue
Star Wars
ones,
Day as well today.
The issue ones. May the 4th be with you. Princess Guinevere and King Arthur crossover. Will Eisner, a comics biography.
Yeah, that looked all right. I missed that one. Yeah, I think was it Eamon got that in his. I think he posted a picture.
Yeah. EC Comics presents Blood Type. Flash Gordon and the Girl from Infinity Adventures. Hero Bear and the Kid. Seriously, if you got that, fucking rediscover Hero Bear and the Kid. It's actually an amazing book from years ago. It actually surprised me that they're re-releasing it. Creaky Acres, a graphic novel. Best of 2000 AD. Red 5 Comics, Young Adult Adventures.
Oh, that is.
Hulk Teach, which is a Scholastic book.
Okay.
Transformers, Worst Bot Ever. It's not about our bums. Champion from 10 Speed Graphic. Black Mirror from T-Pub Twisted Comics.
Yeah.
Is Black Mirror, is that a licensed book then for the TV series?
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah.
How'd they wrangle that? Okay, fair enough.
Don't
know. Diablo, based on the video game from Titan Comics. Stitch, Best Food Forever from Tokyo Pop. Mega Man 0. Street Fighter versus Rival Schools. Def Leppard's Hysteria from Vault Comics. No word of a lie, there's a comic based on Def Leppard's Hysteria, and I would have got that one.
Do you remember I did? Do you remember we did shit comics with Matt Harrow? I did. Do you remember I did the Def Leppard Rock and Roll Comics issue?
Nice. Yeah. Pour some sugar on me. And the last issue is Kagura Bachi. I've murdered that.
That is something you find.
/ a Baruto 2 Blue Vortex from Viz Media. So that's the list.
There's a lot of fucking titles. So
that's a lot of kid stuff.
That's a lot of titles, a lot of kid stuff, a lot more sort of manga sort of base titles. And even if they're Western based characters, there seems to be the anime manga version of them. There's of course video game stuff. And I've noticed for these things, it's always a crossover, or like say a flip book, a double issue, isn't it?
You want to get as many as you can, didn't you?
I mean, I kept mentioning there was Minecraft and manga / Beyblade X. That's like two toy and video game sort of things. Do you know what I mean? It's,
right.
What do you think about? I mean, the free comic book day is great for shops. It's also great for kids. If it'd be brilliant. If you were a kid and went in there and there's a table full of comics that you can just take home and read, it'd be amazing. And it's almost like a table full of anthologies, isn't it? There's going to be one bit of gold in there. And make sure you get that.
I enjoyed the reading stuff. The ones I read this morning, the 3 of them, they're okay.
Some of it's going to be empty.
Often, a lot of it is historically has been terrible content. I've got parts of comics, I haven't read, but this was a standard of the books that were going out monthly. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would presume it would just be like a lot of it would be reprints.
Yeah.
Of kind of stuff that's already been done.
I mean, the interesting thing is, for instance, Dan, we know like you're an Energon Universe stan at the moment. Like that's your jam.
Yeah.
That's immediately one that would interest you, isn't it, on the particular day?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that would be printed somewhere else, but if I was about, I'd fucking snag it. give that.
If you were doing something, which, okay, let's ask this question, and I'm going to ask about the value of a free comic book day comic, and I want to sort of put some caveats to this, because obviously the value should essentially be free. And I don't understand, and I don't agree with people then trying to flip them for the amount of times that I see them in a charity shop years down the lane, and they're like £2 in a charity shop. Can't you see the big words that say free?
Free.
But in terms of the value of the content in them, whether they're bad or not, I think that you brought up an interesting point, Dan. If you've got a universe or you've got a character and you've got all of these different bits of media in it, do you make this particular issue more sought after and more valuable if this particular day and printing is the only time you will ever get it?
I think that's a massive misstep for me.
It is for collectors, I think. Yeah.
So you think if you're a creator, you should then offer that, if you miss it here, 2 years later, we'll put it in a collection somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think also the same applies to them having an event starting in it, which has happened before, or having the first appearance of a character in the free comic book day thing, something like that. Yeah, it needs for us completists. It's often difficult to find.
I don't think anyone did it. I mean, it would have been a novel experiment to see if, Marvel did. I mean, it's a bit late to say it now, but if they did a free comic book day character, where the only issue you had, it was almost like an ongoing.
It was that character. Yeah.
It was that character, the only place you could get.
But it's a lost lead financially for them, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah. Because if you put the first appearance of a character in a running order Batman issue or a running order Spider-Man issue, it's going to fucking sell buckets. Put it in a free comic book issue. What's the loss? What's the lead for it? It's a bit of a lost lead because
totally.
I'm not sure people who pick up free comic book day comics then go on to read.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I think that's part of the problem, especially with the queues you see. We saw them today, not as much as I've seen previous years, but there used to be queues around the block, didn't there, for New Comic Book Day?
I think they should be totally disposable, those free comic book day comics.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you think they have become more so?
Read them, give them on. No, I don't know.
I think it depends. It depends. I
mean, I don't want to throw any sort of judgments on any of these books, because I haven't read them, and spoilers, I probably never will. I'll never get. I've got too many other things.
You'd roll it up and put it in your back pocket, or you'd leave it on the table in the cafe or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
But I'm not going to read Thundercats and Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, there are kids that will. It's made for a certain audience, but what is the value of doing something that essentially is just an advert, essentially?
I mean, there will be some pickup around it, won't it? It's just not for us, is it?
Yeah.
It should be designed as a taster, something exciting for kids and people who've dropped off to go, oh, Batman, I don't know what Batman's about, and you get this comic that's all about Batman. Or fucking hell, the Spider-Man one's a bit of a weird one because it's got all different Spider-Men from, different universes and stuff in it, and you're like,
man, it should be a cool concept of getting people on board of what the character is.
It should be someone who's like fun and bouncy cartooning, there to get people hooked. Yeah. There to get people reading.
Actually lead into the main topic, which we can circle back at.
Okay.
That's true.
How long are these comics usually? Are they 20, 24 issue, 24 pages, Tony?
I always get the impression they're about the same as a normal comic, aren't they? But they do have filler stuff in, they have text pieces a lot of the time and stuff like that in them.
I guess that all depends on the company as well, doesn't it? Like what they're they're designing, what they're trying to promote.
Some of the I can't remember which one it was, but it's Spider-Man. It had a couple of pages that were just 2 pages with dialogue on a single image on it. It was a bit like that.
Yeah.
But this, the all-in one it's a mystery. It starts a big mystery that leads into the main series.
Right.
Which is the technique that DC are going for in that, I guess.
So, but that's not. Okay. It's not part of a comic that will be out in a month or two.
I suspect that probably will be. Yeah.
add that in.
Whilst the Spider-Man, that's what I was looking for. The Spider-Man does that sort of thing. It has these big pieces of art with surrounded by words. It's almost like a couple of pages aren't like a comic. They're just like pin-ups with text on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm banging on about this during the week. I'd have been like, there's a Marvel Rivals free comic book day comic, and had the, like, maybe if they could put an advert in the game, saying go check out free comic book day Marvel Rivals special edition or something.
Yeah.
Get them down there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rights is between the two if they could run that ad, but it's all one-way traffic. The kind of the comic audience, comic creators give to the kind of the films and the TV and the games, but you don't ever see it coming back the other way.
No. Which is probably down to larger problems. I think the ones that for me, just from the sound of them, sound like they've got more narrative value. It's just the issue zeros, because issue zeros with comics with me, they've always canonically been. It's just a little extra. You don't, because you bought your issue 1 and everything. They were always just
Not
a
totally
little,
needed.
Yeah, exactly. Not totally needed a lot of times. Image used to do it a lot, didn't it? Back in the day.
Oh, mate.
Marvel and DC have done it as almost like a start of an event sometimes. The new one is Alpha, isn't it? They do an Alpha and then they do an Amiga at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's a similar
Just a
sort
new
of thing.
fucking gimmick, innit? Of trying to
Trying to shift numbers. Yeah.
I've forgotten, what was it they did Age of Apocalypse, because there was 2 books, weren't there? There was one that started it.
I think it was Alpha and Amiga with that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it might have been. Yeah.
It's funny, all these like the different things they try to get sales and stuff. And obviously what it should be doing is putting a horse down a well.
They need to get that horse down a well with 3 mutants. Yeah.
Nice.
God, that was awful.
That'd be the one of the classic X-Men tales we talk about in the future.
Yeah, right up there with Dark Phoenix Saga. That is.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Executioner's Song, and Age of Apocalypse, and when there were 3 X-Men and a horse down a well.
Now, I just want to.
They get Lassie halfway through it. They go and get Lassie. She saves them.
I just want to be clear. The article I just read from. It does say there was 47 titles in total.
Okay.
No, 46, sorry. With 13 gold sponsor and 33 silver sponsor comic books. This was an article from last year, 2024, from Diamond. So there was probably... there wasn't even covers on some of the ones I saw here. There was an awful lot more. But I think that the sort of spread of those sort of titles gives us a good idea... Of the sort of
Nobrow did a Hilda one years ago. We had a little store of them. We had some more left over, so I think I handed them out. They went to conventions and stuff like that as a little starter for kids who come to the table. Couldn't afford to buy a whole book, so they got a little comic and stuff and a badge. I quite liked it.
With the Hilda stuff though, you watch the cartoon and what you're getting in the cartoon is what you're getting in the book. Like it's very much they work hand in hand.
Yeah, that really did. Yeah, that was a good thing about it. New Hilda out now.
Nice.
Mm.
I don't know if it's me being a kind of one of them, but I don't ever consider manga that's made in the West to be manga. It's like manga.
I suppose purists don't, do they?
Yeah. It's made in like the East. It's kind of Asian. It's not. You can make it styled like manga, but it's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
If it's made in Swindon, is it manga? Yeah, it's like that, isn't it?
It's not manga, but is it?
But I think there's a very it's a different tone. Even though we live with a generation of creators now, especially with like webcomics and just take webtoons or a lot of stuff I see online. The other people who have grown up, that's their comics, which is awesome. Whatever your style of comics is amazing. But because they're sort of copying that style, it's other people trying to play their guitar like someone else plays, and it's not the same. It's not the same.
There's
a thing with manga.
Weight that comes with it that you cannot replicate.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with manga today that I put on the Slack actually that just really piqued my interest. There's like one of those sort of cool video podcasts that turns up on Reels, and because all mine are comics things. Do you know what I mean? When I look at my Reels, and it came up about this, and it was these comedians talking about it. You'd know at least one of them, and he was going on about I thought they were taking the piss, but I think they were being genuine by saying the cool bit of the bookshop. He was talking about seeing someone in the manga section at Foyles who was this cool kid, and I think they were being genuine. So from Joe Public, from looking in from the outside, not knowing fuck all about comics, they think that manga is where the cool kids go now.
Okay.
That's interesting, though.
Yeah.
To me.
But, I mean, it's certainly whenever I've been
back to that. Whenever later.
Yeah, whenever I've been in a bookshop, spoilers, I go to bookshops.
Meet girls.
And I'm stood there by the graphic novel section. There's more of a chance of me having the whole graphic novel section, which is usually a couple of shelves.
Can I just rephrase that graphic novel shelf?
Yeah. I go to classy books. There's 2 shelves down.
2 shelves.
No, and next to me there's like 2 or 3 people waiting, stood and buy all the manga, or buy the Tokyo Pops, all the all of that stuff. And I always find it fascinating. It almost distracts me from my graphic novel sort of browsing, trying to find something, because my ears are suddenly caught by what they're talking about, and it's always about the books. I always hear them going, "Oh, have you? I need that volume for it. Have you heard what happens here? This character does this." I'm thinking they are in it. They are absolutely.
Sometimes I wonder who is talking about the plot of comics anymore.
Yeah.
And where he's talking about lightly, because there are London comedians who will be foils in Jancross Road, and the manga section there is fucking massive.
Yeah.
It's like 20 sets of shelves. It's like massive. And he was saying, he had these like sort of voluminous trousers on and blue hair, and he said he's the cool kid. I'm like, okay, that's the cool kid now, isn't it? They buy manga, and that's who 50-something comedians now view as the cool kid. I thought it was quite interesting.
Well, I had one of my son's friends come round, and he's like, have you got this manga and that? And I say, yes, I've got like this and that, and I've got this book by him. And they go, okay. It's interesting, like the manga stuff that they're kind of into, like he's getting into the Berserk. That's like, most volumes of that.
Yeah.
So,
it's I mean, we love reading it. It's fucking. I mean, there's a reason why it's so popular.
Well, I wouldn't go into a bookshop to get a graphic novel, because you go in there, they're gonna have fucking Watchmen, Mouse, just the old reliables that I've either read or owned.
I will say, shout out to Mr. B's Book Emporium in Bath, which is a great independent bookstore. That is.
Yeah, that's different. Independent might be different.
Yeah,
when you get like the big chains.
Oh yeah. The Waterstones can be Waterstones. Much as I like walking in Waterstones, because it's always quiet in there and it's peaceful in the one I go to. But the graphic novel section just is getting smaller and smaller.
It's a mess.
Yeah. But yeah, Mr. B's is that's fantastic. You can go in there. That was when I saw that graphic novel adaptation of The Road. I looked through it and I just thought, well, this is fun stuff.
Depressing. Yeah.
It was a difficult wank.
Yeah.
Challenging.
We managed it though.
And I haven't been in the shop since.
I remember reading that book, the train that's I was on a train going to Charing Cross, and it was on a winter morning, raining fucking horrible. Everyone had colds. I couldn't get to the station because the train had blocked. And I was reading that, I was like, I've got to stop fucking.
Oh mate, I went and saw the movie, came out the cinema, and it had started snowing, and it fucking done me in.
Oh.
I immediately rung my son. I was a bit worried that there'd been an apocalypse.
Oh.
Saying that thing, this thing, if someone said to you, right, I'll give you £1,000. If you press this button, you'll get £1,000. But someone in, I don't know, wherever, South America will die. I'd fucking press that button. I'd keep pressing it.
Yeah.
I'd press it 100 times.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I think if it's like that, the thing, if it's anyone in the world, someone random will die if you press that button.
Yeah.
I think most people will be fucking jamming that button faster than.
If he said, what if he said, it might be someone you know? I'd fucking still press it.
Like if I can play Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times can I press it? That's what I'd say.
Yeah. We're pushing that whopper button.
Yeah, fuck that. It wouldn't affect my conscience.
Anyway, stop waiting.
Cold dead eyes of a shark looking back at us over the Zoom.
It passed out from not enough food or sleep because you're pressing the button. So
I'd wear my finger out.
Broke his finger.
Yeah. Tendinitis.
I'll be slamming.
It's all right, I got the middle one.
I'll be hitting it in my fucking forehead.
It's unbelievable. He broke all 10 fingers.
Just his forehead.
Mate, you got to slow down. You broke the button.
I'm a millionaire.
Fix the button then.
I've seen that GIF, in Elf when he's pressing all the buttons in the lift. It's like if he got like $1,000 every time he pressed the button, but someone died, and then someone said, "I'd be like,
Oh God! Yeah. Complex moral debates is what we have on the show. And speaking,
it's like that. Have you seen that? Have you seen that fucking psychologist drawing about the trains going down the tracks and it's going to fucking kill 6 people, or you press the button and it goes to the other track and kills 1 person? Have you seen the GIF now? That it's got a kid sitting there. I fixed it, and they've drawn lines around so it gets all.
Amazing. But speaking of complex moral debates. And just morality, just all of that in general.
Morality, that
Dan's going to speak to us.
Dan's going to talk to us for a little bit, and we're going to discuss something. What do you want to talk about? Dan?
It's kind of we've always it seems to be a hot topic that doesn't seem to be going away.
Yeah,
and I doubt will. Is AI comics or AI art in comics?
Yeah,
even AI writing. It's kind of just becoming more and more prolific, and it's just everywhere. I mean, global comics. I've mentioned to one of them today, like one of
we have flagged up several times.
Forever we're sending them stuff, and they do thank us, don't they?
There's
and they usually get rid of them.
But like I looked at one creator today, and they've got about 7 series, and each series has got about 5 or 6 books in it, and like they've been on that site like a couple of months, and it's just fucking shovelware. It's shit. It's just like the same picture 4 times, and then you have a whole page which like a gradient with like 4 letters in white in it talking about the story. And it's the same problem they had on Amazon with just AI generating books. And people are like fucking working hard and making these books, and then you're just getting this crap taking up the space and the noise and making so much noise about it.
Mate, I've been caught with it. When the new Dune movie came out, I always look for new Dune books, and one said, "Oh, a guide to Dune." I thought, I haven't read this before. I wonder if this is a repeat of the old book that's hard to get. So I bought it, and it was like tatty, print on demand, Chat GPT created bollocks. It was just absolute waste of money. Yeah.
There's an interesting attitude about it as well. Like I've come across it in quite a few indie comic creator groups on Facebook, and people will post work up. And you'll say, "Is this AI art?" Because it looks like it, and they'll sort of get all offended and stuff, and go, "No, it's not." And then they get caught out, and it's like, then they start saying, "Well, there's no problem with AI art." And it's like, well, if there's no problem with it, why are you trying to kind of obscure the fact that it is and you kind of get a bit off when you're challenged on it? I mean, I can't see it ever going away now that it's here. People are going to use it.
No, I mean it's one of those interesting things as well. Just almost play devil's advocate in a way. We haven't seen it, and I guess we'd never see it. But if there was a creator who genuinely, for whatever reason, had to use it for art or something like that, and they openly said, "Look, front and center, it's this." Because of this, do you know what I mean? Blah 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 blah. If they gave a reason for it and stuff.
Well, what you're saying, like a disability or something?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. And possibly disability, but because so they couldn't, or funds or things like that. If they were open about it straight away, it just seems like there's more proliferation of people doing it, getting asked about it, and then getting offended by it. Do you know what I mean? Like they've been trying because they're trying to pass it through like it's their own thing.
It's a tool that it's everything can be abused.
It's a tool. I mean, in my sort of design job,
at the moment.
In my design job, I've used generative AI tools to extend grass or things like. Do you know what I mean?
All the time. I use it on mine. Generate background. Generate like lost bits of images. I'm not trying to do a whole piece. But it's like, if I'm making a little bit of wood look like something on the left-hand side, that's...
I have also done something that's like, all right then, show me what you fucking got, and I'll ask something, and the results are, nah, I'm safe, because this can't fucking do what a person can do. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't know, it's all from what it's pulling. Have you heard about the clock or the watch issue with AI art? I haven't checked up on this. If you ask, because it is pulling from photos and things like that, isn't it? I heard somewhere that like if you ask AI art to create like a watch or a clock that reads 25 past 3, it will always come back with the same time, because normally when there's like watches on adverts,
references of watches,
it's always the same time, so it can only reference that one thing.
It's like phone numbers in movies all begin 515. It's a bit like that, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's the only data it's got to draw from. So
yeah. I haven't checked that, so I could be wrong, but I'm wrong about it.
For me, there's 2 areas for this really as we develop through AI, and I'm seeing a lot of this in my day job as well. Is there's overt AI stuff you can spot. So when you look at the AI created videos of Trump's having a meeting with Zelensky and it turns in they have a fist fight, you can tell. It's done there. It's used, put out by whoever for a propaganda reason. But it's the covert use of AI is the one that causes the problems. And there's some examples of it I was reading about recently where for example, they've got a bloke reporting from a rooftop in Kyiv, and then they switch to the studio back at the BBC, but the AI creates an audio file of what they want to use as propaganda. So it bleeds what you think it's bleeding through to the studio, and it's him saying fucking hell, Trump couldn't fucking run a bath, or that sort of thing. And it's done to cause trouble, and and people believe it because it's so well done. And I think that's the problem we will get to with comics, is you've got the overt, like stuff we look at and we go fucking AI. I mean, we get emails of guests. We got that guest email in the other day, which was just clearly written as the AI. ChatGPT created. It's obvious. But then we'll start getting the stuff that is under our radar. And comics are so different. There's such a diversity of style in comics. We will very soon not be able to spot it.
Oh, totally.
I guarantee. And there's probably stuff out there that we are not spotting now.
For me, say if I could load all my artwork into an algorithm and say, right, I want to see a cover like this, and it generates a cover mock-up using only my artwork. And said, what about this?
So do you think that's dishonest?
No, but I wouldn't necessarily use that straight off the rip. I'd be like, oh, it's giving me something there that I didn't really think of myself, and maybe I'd work using elements of that to make my own image, because it's pulling from stuff that I've done and I've created. I
mean, that's almost you treat it like a reference generator, almost like sort of, that kind of thing.
That's true. That's a good way of looking at it.
It would sort of mix up elements of my stuff I've already done,
But if you imagine there's
tools,
a very
though, isn't it? I mean, that's the important distinction. It's tools rather than the actual.
And it's a tool, and it's a tool that's not going away.
No,
as well. I think the thing is with it, for example, you've got a really old creator who has perhaps made 1,000 comics in his time. Hundreds of thousands of pages maybe, and he's getting old and his eyes go. And he can use this to make his own comics and shift them with an assistant, shift them about on the page and stuff to make another comic. We're not necessarily going to be able to tell. Is he being dishonest by doing that? I'm mostly veering on the side of no for that.
What about this? If you into ChatGPT, you made up a character of one of your comics, say Wolverine. Marvel did it for Wolverine, and they pumped in every bit of dialogue that Wolverine's ever said in the comics.
They probably will, but carry on.
And the writer said, right, I need Wolverine to come up with a badass line. He's just chopped up Mr. Sinister's hand or something. I need a line. ChatGPT, and pulling all that data that previous writers have done, it comes up with a line that's absolute fucking killer. Like
it's saying that you cannot tell me there's not people using that for outline stories when they're pitching. It's happening. I guarantee it.
And like it's when it comes to that like I feel the blood boiling. Did you know what I mean? That sort of.
If they've not done something like that already, they're going to do something like that.
It stops originality, and it's the thing that will eventually have us living in the land of idiocracy. Because it just degenerates slowly into a downwards spiral.
I mean, look at Crocs. Anyway.
I don't mind Crocs, actually. Quite
it sort of becomes like a snake eating its tail. It's kind of. At a certain point, if there's not people making new content for it to feed on, as it were, it's just going to keep regurgitating the same shit over and over.
I think there is something. I mean, obviously there's a natural worry about it, and I think understandably some people can get quite upset and like their mental health, and certainly it consumes everyone sometimes with their messaging or everything that they're talking about, which can take a toll. I would, if I was to make one suggestion to people, is like, you know, if you're worried about all of that, you know, almost focus some of that sort of I don't want to sound like a Zen Buddha, but you know, take that sort of negative energy and look at people who, you know, the small press and the indie people who are, you know, drawing stuff with ink, photocopying it themselves, making it themselves, people you know, belt and braces, you know, find the voices that aren't doing the thing that's upsetting you.
It's an educational thing as well, man. I think there's a number of areas, you know, because like you say, Dan, there's a lot of people out there who think they're doing nothing wrong by using AI to make the comics.
Totally it. Yeah.
But you need to explain to them, you know, the effect it'll have on the industry, the effect it's having on the environment.
Yeah.
You know, for every chat GPT fucking email we get about a guest, there's a couple of trees going, aren't there? Let's face it. Do you know what I mean? You know, stuff like that. And if rather than like attack dogging people, you say, listen, mate, this is the situation with you using AI. You know, a lot of them just don't realise. A lot of kids just stare into their fucking computer screen. They don't understand the real world.
Making the environmental argument, because I think 9 out of 10 people don't care when you say it's using X amount of resources, because they'll say,
well, it's the, like you said, Tony, it's the button. They don't see it, so they're going to keep on pressing the button.
Yeah.
So you know,
I mean, I've challenged people that presented comic books, and they said, well, it's worked on an idea that I've done, but it's like, but the work is pulling on to generate that image is like millions and millions of images that you've not done. And it's
at the moment you
valor.
you're right, man. And at the moment it's kind of there's an element of it, there's a soulless element to it for me. I mean, that'll change because it'll improve. But at the moment I kind of feel mostly like that.
Made the radical kind of how far it's come on. It's always that, it's the hands, they can't get the hands right. That's almost been fucking
that's gone now.
Yeah. It's I know personally from my, like, as soon as I like hear about it, I get worried, I get angry, I get frustrated.
It's coming from both your jobs.
And
mine,
and it's all
extent.
But not only that, I think anything in the creative industry as well, not just the jobs, but like, you know, if you think about things you want to do, just say, you know, you're doing this, but you want to be a filmmaker, or you want to be a scriptwriter, or you want to be, you know, this, or you want to do that. Fucking voice acting. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, with the AI voice acting.
And if you extrapolate that, it's coming for our imaginations.
Exactly.
That's what it's coming for every single person's imagination.
And that's the thing is, without fucking fresh new voices and fresh new imaginations, it's the same shit. We're going to be spoon-fed grey Matrix food. You know, and if that's the
cycled out.
If that's the case, in 70 years, when I'm no longer on this earth, unless I get turned into a vampire, but I don't think it will. In 70 years, I don't really want to be here in 70 years if that's what it's going to be like. Well, I mean, the world will probably blow up by then anyway. But you know what I mean?
You'll still be able to listen to this podcast, so.
I read an article with someone running a competition to do logo design, and they were just inundated with generated logos that all look the fucking same.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it used to be, before the AI stuff kicked off, Fiverr and stuff. Do you remember all that? That was a problem, and now it's a problem on a problem. With AI and stuff like that.
The worldwide market of Fiverr, definitely. It's a funny one. I was just thinking there when you were saying about 70 years. I wonder whether, please never do this, anyone, but we've got over 500 episodes of content. You could make a half-hour podcast out of us easily, and no one would know.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you can be certain of is there won't be any quality content.
They won't be talking about wanking off with Sooty, will they?
No. Well, they may do. Maybe someone will do like a whole 3-hour episode just about that. There's certainly a lot of content.
Listen to that.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. It's going to be keep on talking about it.
It's oh god, I'm gonna sound soapboxy. I think when it comes to comics creators and stuff, it's frustrating when people just seem to be, they're jumping in the pool with both feet, and they haven't been readers, and they haven't been making comics.
Sticks out a mile. You can tell a mile that someone who hasn't practiced their craft.
Yeah.
Just on the storytelling alone.
I mean, like, it's fan fiction, but instead of it being an established IP, it's just their own stuff now. Yeah. That's all it is. Do you know what I mean? But instead of like internet forums or things like that, we're getting them actually on platforms where other people publish and could potentially make enough to buy a bag of crisps.
Like on that Global, they've got a policy of they don't pay people who use AI generated artwork money, but there's loads of people on there that aren't following that rule.
Yeah.
So if there's us,
they haven't spotted. I'm guessing.
Yeah. If there's us paying our £10 a month, whatever it is, subs fee, and for every comic we read, a little bit of those creators get something. There's some people. There's half of the people over doing legit comics, and they're doing the AI comics.
Yeah. They're taking it off those people.
That money.
Yeah. I mean, I do honestly think, fuck AI. That's the emotional response that I have to it in so many ways. But as always, it's about finding out like what's going on.
I mean, in relation to our business, I agree with you. But then again, it has got uses in medicine, for example, and diagnosing illness.
Do you know what? That'd be fucking amazing if we were, I would like get it to do stuff good in the world. Take away creative jobs for fuck's sake.
It's been used for good, but like everything with like when you get a new tool, it's just instantly everyone starts using it for whatever, including like abusing it. Yeah. Porn, it'll be there. It's
already all over it. Yeah, probably putting them out of jobs.
I don't like porn. I don't know.
He loves it. So as always, probably some thoughtful discussion that will be had after this episode on the forums or whatever the interwebs that the kids use these days. But
threads.
I know. I know.
Mastodon.
We've
Truth Social.
Where else could you find us? But it's something that I think Dan usually sort of picks. Dan, you're the one filtering through the swine to find the gems a lot of the time. I got to give you respect for that because
God bless you, man. You do mix with a few nutters online.
Yeah,
as well as us. Yeah.
Trouble is, if you pretend to be crazy for so long, you bump into someone pretending to be sane.
Yeah. As soon as you go, I'm not crazy. That's exactly what crazy people say.
Yeah, they always deny it.
Oh dear. Yes.
We going on to our the sort of final topic, as it were.
Yeah.
But like we've touched in a few points, like in the Free Comic Book Day and the like.
Yeah.
Of coming into this one.
Yes.
So should we read the question verbatim?
Yeah. This is the one. And I know, like we're rolling on as I knew we would with our first Three Amigos show, but we wanted to talk about this one. So I think it's thank you, Tony, keeping the brand. But from Gareth Brooks, friend of the show, he asked us a question which we thought was so good we wanted to just shine light on it and discuss it, and therefore get you people talking about it as well. He said, something that's come up for me this week is how do you talk about comics to people who know absolutely nothing about comics? How do you get past their assumptions / prejudices and get them to give comics a fair go? Which is a fantastic question. Thank you, Gareth, for that. It is, I think, the question.
It's a really weird one, and I think it changes. It changes every few years.
Does it change?
And here's my reason.
Okay.
10, 15 years ago, if you talk to someone about comics, they would have a recollection, even if they were, say, 30, they would have a recollection of what a comic was. Yeah? Because the British comic industry was still slightly more alive back then. It's disappeared off the shelves a lot now. I think, but now you've got people who have never encountered a comic because it's become much more niche. So, and they're out there, genuinely people are out there who have never encountered a comic. But if you were of my generation, everyone encountered a comic because everyone had comics as a kid because they were the medium of the people, as it were. but it hasn't been that way for a long time now. So there's people out there who just don't know about it. And I think there's a number of things that hurt us. For those that have heard about it, they might have heard about graphic novels, which is honestly drier than my granny's fanny is a term, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It is, it's the driest, most boring term. You know, if you try to say to some kid, have you read a graphic novel? It's like saying to them, have you read Dickens?
It's a Guardian term. It's a Guardian term.
It is exactly that.
And it's just become part of my vocabulary. But I totally agree with you, Tony, which is why when I use it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I hate using it, but I do sometimes. And I hate it.
You get embarrassed to use the word comic because people think less to use graphic novel.
But I think, honestly, now, I think and part of it comes from that conversation I heard with the comedians talking about manga kids. I think comics has got a little bit more of a culty, nichey, cooly thing going on, where your average kid who's playing football on a Sunday and, you know, he's running around at school with a dirty face and playing video games in the evening doesn't have any contact into that at all.
Nope.
Anymore. It's just not there. Joe Public just doesn't encounter them.
Not even pop culture references to say that's like a comic book. It's like
pop culture references now refer to the movies.
Yeah, but that's like saying out the MCU.
Yeah. I think it's hard to tell because, you know, our view of things, or certainly my view of things, is based on the algorithm of my life. And I don't mean what's on the web, but just everything I'm seeing in general. So, like your subconscious, like, you know when you hear a word and you've never heard a word before, and then all of a sudden you're hearing it and seeing it everywhere. And because it's so comics driven, you know, am I seeing things in a different way? But when I was at school, I mean, I loved comics. I'm trying to word this right. Comics always felt like a subculture. They were always there. I mean, certainly when I was at school, there was a few of us reading comics. I was the comic fan, but it wasn't. Loads of people at my school and stuff weren't really reading them. Do you know what I mean? Even at that point.
Yeah.
I was reading the weeklies and stuff. Certainly when I got to secondary school, you know, made me stand out even more because I was, you know, the comic book reader. Certainly didn't talk about them at school. You know, unless you got your comic book mates that you talk to and stuff about, oh yeah, go to the comic shop or whatever. So it felt like almost a subculture. It was almost like your little club away from everything. And at that time and era of the world, video games, movies, fucking forget about it. Nothing was being done right. You had a few standouts, you know, from the past, but the crossover was always the dream when you were a kid. So, you know, oh my God, they've done a fucking single based on Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean? It became everything you wanted. You'd never see that. You never fucking notice it now because there's so much of this stuff. So it's almost like, for me, it felt like comics were a subculture that I was passionate about. You know, it was my culture, but it was away from everything else. Comics now, and certainly in the mainstream, feels like a culture, but not necessarily a culture that I recognise. It feels like, because a lot of the stuff that I liked when I was a kid is now, because of the movies, because of video games, because of everything else, it is now toys in toy shops. I cannot stress to a lot of the younger listeners, I had no access to get a Wolverine action figure when I was 8 years old. Absolutely no fucking access. There was one that at a car boot sale or something, and it was an old, like the tan, you know, the really old little solid plastic figures. That was like gold dust. It was like something from another planet because they were nowhere. I walk into any fucking toy shop now, and there'll be £2-3 fucking Wolverine figure, about fucking 50 billions of them on the shelves. That's Tony's just holding up one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's from back then. That is.
Yeah, and you know, you got it without the claws. Do you know what I mean? Because you found out a car boot, bits were falling off it and stuff like that. But it was like, oh my God, it's the thing I like. There's a toy of the thing I like. Same with video games. The first time you see a video game, it's like, holy shit, this is actually a good thing of the thing I like. It was gold dust, and now the gold dust doesn't exist because there was a gold rush into popular culture.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? So it's almost like we had this gold dust, and then all of a sudden it poured into the river, and it's just watered down. So it feels like comics aren't a thing, but I think comics are a culture, but they're not necessarily a culture we recognise because of the things that we like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, massively. And I think the thing is, to solve the problem, you have to quantify how people from outside who've never read them before see them.
Yeah.
And that's part of the question. How do we get people interested?
Yeah.
And I have a sort of an interesting view of this, or an interesting experience of this, in that where I work is I work in an environment of people who are extremely clever. People with double PhDs, 4 languages, this sort of thing. But they tend to be people from overseas. So, ex-Eastern Bloc countries, the Baltics, South America, this sort of thing, North Africa. And they are very bright people who I know will enjoy comics. And I say to them, have you ever tried? And a lot of them are like sci-fi fans, sci-fi and fantasy very much. And they're the ones who I'll lend them a 600-page novel over the weekend, and they'll give it back to me on Monday, and they've read it all, and all they want to do is talk to you about it.
Yeah,
I did that with a couple of the June books and stuff. Very clever.
So easy
very
to do.
clever.
It's so easy to do with novels and stuff like that. If you've got a fantasy novel, people are like, I like this sort of book. Great, I know a book here. Read this, then we'll talk about it next week.
And,
you know what I mean?
and they're reading it in a foreign language. These people, so they're incredibly clever, puppies. And occasionally I've given them comics. So one of my friends, she's very very intelligent, from an Eastern Bloc, like I say, 3 or 4 languages. And I was telling her about Christian winning, being nominated for the Hugo, and she's like very excited by that. So I've got a spare copy of Hunger and Dust to give to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that she'll enjoy that. So I think when his question, how do you talk about comics to people who know absolutely nothing about comics, you have to pick and choose your battles, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's a different strokes for different folks, and a nuance combined all at once in that.
You're not going to win every fucking battle there, are you?
Yeah. But it's interesting the way they see it, because I have a conversation with, there's a bunch of us who often go for lunch together, and where comics will come up, and they just don't understand the culture.
Yeah.
And one of the guys I work with says, she says, but it seems to me as quite a sort of politicized area. And I was sort of, why is that then? And I think she sees the sort of social media aspects of it, where people who are into comics don't really talk about comics. They seem to all be talking about Palestine or Ukraine or gender and stuff like that. And she sort of sees it as, I don't want to say left wing, but activist, I suppose. She thinks all these people are activists. And I said, well, no, that's not the case. You don't have to be involved in that part of it. You just have to read the story. So I gave her a preacher trade, which she liked. Yeah. And I think that's much more interesting.
I think, what you bring up there, Tony, is an interesting aspect, because with comics and I think social media and the amplification of voices on every fucking side has unfortunately drowned out the most important thing there is, which is the comic. Yeah.
Which goes back to what we said earlier. Nobody's talking about the insides of a comic anymore.
Yeah, and the stories. Because no matter what it is, even if it's a true story, even if it's fictional, if it's superheroes, if it's just slice of life, no matter what it is, these are stories. These are narratives. They can be factual. They can be all kinds of things. And the story, everyone will see, who's shouting the loudest, who's saying this particular statement. All of that is fish and chip paper in 50 years. That story that was told is still there, right? Even if
in 5 years, mate. Not even.
Yeah, exactly. There are stories as old as fucking time. Do you know what I mean? When these things got printed, are we talking about what people were saying at the time? Or are we talking about these classics?
Yeah, but the thing is, I guarantee these people I work with they'll see the Fantastic Four movie, for example, will come out, and they'll go, what's this about, this Fantastic Four? And I go, oh, mate, you've got to read the John Byrne series. I'll choose something. Yeah. And they'll find it online and read it, and that's amazing. None of that has occurred to them. They don't know there's that rich history there sitting there for people.
Yeah. I mean, my answer, and before I throw the mic down to you, Dan, on this question, back to the original question before I'll get off my soapbox. For those people that know absolutely nothing about comics, it's less. I used to get frustrated because whenever people heard comics, it used to be, and I think it's changed with time. It used to be biff, bam, pow. Oh, that's comics, isn't it? And that used to wind me up because I used to think, no, it's not. It's not the Batman 60s fucking series. That's the only thing you know. So you think it's pow, kablam. I think it's all that. It's not. Now it's it's like the Marvel movies. The same fucking frustration because it's not. It's just the frustration's changed. Yeah. It's the same shortcut. So I'd stay away from any of this whatever's popular culture. If people are like, oh, what is it about comics then? It's the same with the novels and everything. What stories do you like? What sort of what sort of fiction do you like? And because thankfully, I've read a lot more than just the two popular bands on the lineup. If people go, oh, I like a good detective story, or I'm a big fan of this particular, serial killer novels or whatever, I have a comic book series that I think you'll really love.
Yeah, you've got to do it per person. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
I was going to say, for me as well. I've been in that situation where people have expressed an interest, and I've said, you might like this book, and you've got to be very careful because it reflects on you as a person, the book you're representing. Saying, I think you'll like this. They're going to make character judgments not only about the book you're choosing.
Yeah, you forget that on page 3. I did this to the vicar once. Remember going to a comic shop in a group of people, and he hadn't been in a comic shop for a while. And I said to him, he said, "What do you recommend?" I said, "You got to read the new Fury book," and it was the one where he's surrounded by prostitutes. And he's like opened it. He's gone, "Oh," and I went, okay. "Oh shit, I forgot about that."
Yeah, fuck out.
Yeah.
But yeah, when people say like, I really like X, and you think, right, man, this book, you're going to love it. Like my wife doesn't really read comic books. And I said to her about My Friend Dharma. She really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Reading that because that's a kind of jam, like true crime and stuff.
Yeah, like all these people who love true crime podcasts, you've got loads of stuff like that. These detective series, you've got Reckless. There's loads going on out there. And like people who like The Witcher, go and buy the fucking Witcher comic.
Yeah,
man. If you imagine like Yellowstone, you will fucking love Scalped.
Yeah, massive.
But
in fact, I think Yellowstone was the reason Scalped didn't get made, wasn't it?
Right. Okay.
I think a couple of people who originally cast for Scalped appeared in Yellowstone.
Really?
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it sometimes also never forget. It's a visual language. It's a visual medium,
and it's a medium.
And some people just it won't gel with them. If they're willing to try, that is a fucking epic win. But if there's
a lot that's got to go on in your brain when you're viewing a comic.
Yeah.
And some people it just doesn't work for.
One thing I think is an absolute fucking fallacy. I think I've used the right word there. Is you should read Watchmen. Fuck off! Don't tell them to read that. Don't tell them to read that. I think Dark Knight Returns. And people just think whatever's the greatest graphic novel on the top 10 list.
Yeah,
don't
I've
give them
experienced
that.
this. Yeah, I've experienced this. I think there's a lot of people who say, I really want to get into the Marvel Universe. What should I read? And my go-to for years was Civil War.
Yeah.
So I think it's got most of the characters in. It's a good story. It's good art. But it's kind of if they're thinking it's all going to be like that.
Yeah.
I think you're better off giving them a good run of a single character. Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter David's Hulk, X Factor. These sort of things that
depending on their age, you could ask them what's your favorite superhero. They might say Spider-Man or Batman or whoever.
Yeah.
And then you'd think, right, I'll go for this book.
Court of Owls, something like that.
Yeah.
Something that's just a good, solid storytelling. Yeah. And then they can read Civil War. Then they can read Watchmen. Then they can read Dark Knight. But if you get them on this, like what we were used to, fucking waiting for the next issue, what's going to happen? If you get them in that mentality, then I think they can advance.
I think sometimes as well, even if they're your favourite creator, you've got to think about the accessibility of that creator. And I'll take, for instance, just take Alan Moore, for instance.
Yeah.
Your favourite book might be From Hell or V for Vendetta. That's not the first book you should fucking give them.
It's very difficult to go straight into From Hell, I'd say.
Yeah. So you've got to give them something so that eventually they'll be like, oh, let's check out that book and that book,
Might be DR and Quinch might be the best book to give them to start with.
Yeah.
There's these sort of books that are more much more accessible. I actually think the first volume of League of Gentlemen is pretty accessible.
Yeah, fair.
It gets a bit more mad and complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, even Tom Strong, something like that.
Yeah, that's another good one. That's solid. Guests we've had on the show, I've said to people like I've worked with, like, this is really good. This is a really good book.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gone down really well. That the comic book where you read and you got to make the decision whether to not stop reading or not. But
yeah, Smile, not Smile.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, yeah.
So many people in my office read that because I was this is fucking great.
Yeah, but that's also like
the amount of sales there. But
but that's
those people wouldn't buy a comic.
No, they wouldn't buy a comic, but because it's almost it's a little experiment, isn't it? It's a little social experiment in a book, and I know there's lots of sort of comics and that make these sort of like they do these things, and people are more open to them. And sometimes if you have your work, the office people, or and if they think you're into comics, they've probably got an idea. They've got an idea of the comics you read, and they'll be wrong. They will always they will always be wrong. They'll be like, "Oh, you like comics," so they think. I'm into comics, so probably people are just thinking that I'm only reading Captain America and all of this because it's on the big screen. They don't know that I'm into this fucked up serial killer independent shit.
The anecdote that Tony says when he says, I'm going to go Comic Con, they say, what are you dressing up as?
Yeah.
Mate, no. Like,
yeah.
I think there are some groups of people out there, maybe of that sort of university age, who think that comics are all DIY, belly button searching, depressing, zany things as well. And I think some of them maybe have been turned off from that. I think, but if you could introduce them to stuff that is good storytelling, some image books or stuff like that, then I think that might open their eyes a bit more to the other area of it as well.
Exactly. And I think, as always with everything in comics, what can turn anyone off is a real sort of a false sense of superiority across the board. There are people who be like, oh no, I don't like the superhero comics, I like real comics, or like, if it's not superheroes, it's not a comic. It's all a fucking comic, and it's all relevant, and it's all worth something.
Oh mate, I've got two really painful anecdotes about that. One was a professor I was chatting to who suddenly realised that they didn't know more about comics than me, and used the phrase, I don't just read superhero comics, Like that. I went, oh, okay. I know you don't read comics, so it doesn't matter. And the other one was I used to play guitar with this dude, and his wife was right stuck up, and she got into. I walked out the room, and she was reading some fucking fancy artsy fartsy comic, and I said, "Oh, you're reading comics?" She says, "No, graphic novels." She was like telling me off to say she didn't read comics. I'm like. So I then made it my life's work to destroy her theory every turn. So I said, have you read Watchmen? Yeah, that came out as comics first, right?
Yeah.
It's like that constant with her. Yeah.
So there's the respect.
Smile.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's the respect that obviously that people should put on comics, and you shouldn't be actually superior to it. But also, if someone's asking you, like, so what is it about comics? Is there anything I should read? Fucking hell, these people are.
Yeah.
These are rare gems that you should just be like, talk to me. What do you want to read? That sort of thing.
If you come to me and I know you on a regular basis, wait, because the next time I see you, I'll have something for you to fucking read.
Yeah,
I'm like that. I like handing
play
them
it
out.
Cool, Dan.
Play
it cool.
Yeah, I'm mostly into the sort of. I'm mostly into the underground psychedelic comics. Yeah. Oh, and Deadpool.
Yeah. You want to read a comic? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Hold a second.
Yeah. Is it? Oh, come to Gosh with me, and you walk in and go, "Oh, Tone, I've got your Amiga Men fucking volume you ordered." Oh shit.
He has to take his beret off.
It's all like, but then again, you're right. It's just a medium. There's lots to it. There's all kinds. There's everything to it. It's choose and pick and
And it's like you're a Scientologist and someone goes up to you and says, "Hey, we got a book about Dianetics." You're like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah, I've also now got a boner.
Yeah.
Honestly, if someone says to me, "I'd love to get into comics," you got anything to read you can recommend?
Yeah.
Honestly, I've got a semi on. As soon as you say that,
Yeah.
Are you right, Tony? Yeah. Sorry, I just came over you there for a moment.
Whizzed in my pants.
And as for like. If the people have prejudice over it, do you know what I mean? It's like,
I hate that snobbiness.
Yeah, it's like, all comics about superheroes really are all football fans, hooligans.
No, man,
Do you know what I mean?
it's
It's
equivalent
that
to
sort of
saying,
thing.
"Oh,
It's
we
like-
don't have a telly." Oh, just fuck off. No one cares.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the old phrase, isn't it? All paedophiles are manga fans, but not all manga fans are paedophiles. You know, there's that, isn't there?
So, you know, when you sort of say, "Oh, we don't have a telly," you know, it's a code, isn't it? It's like, "Oh, I'm better than you. I don't have a telly. I don't."
They don't have it. There was kids like that when you're growing up, when our parents won't let us have television.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
You put your head down the toilet.
We do not condone that.
Bog washing. We do not condone bog washing.
Yeah. Man, if you don't have a telly, it's on you. Just don't tell me about it.
Yeah. So that's why I constantly say I don't watch porn, because it's just a reflection of the people that say they don't watch telly, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you find a bloke and he's with his girlfriend, I don't watch pornography, you're lying, mate. Fucking damn straight away.
Yeah, not now. You're not, but you are. Yeah. Oh dear. But anyway, thank you for the question, Gareth. That was.
Yeah,
I
it's a good
know.
question,
I know. We've already had.
Must get Gareth's book. I keep meaning to speak to him about it. Yeah.
We've already had some discourse on the Slack channel.
Let's get Gareth back on. Let's get him back on.
Yeah. And then he can ask us himself lots of questions. That'll get us on soapboxes. Probably.
I've stopped the rumour that he's drunk all the time as well. Do you remember? He always used to tell me off for that when I saw him.
Before we move on, like, the Free Comic Book Day, like, how the normie kind of find out about fucking Free Comic Book Day?
Fuck only knows, man.
Fuck only knows.
Normally, Buzz just walking past the shop and seeing the line.
Look, it's free comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only way, well, not the only way, but it's like if you want to keep your kids quiet for a couple of hours, that shop there, you're getting free comics in there. Take them in there for a little bit.
Yeah. That's how I got comics to start with. My dad used to give them to me on the back seat of the car, so I'd shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And little did we know that now we'll never shut up about comics. Yeah.
Now we're 514 episodes in. 2 hours of time. Apart from last week's, which was 2 hours 45 minutes.
Yeah. But it's all good stuff. All good stuff.
Yeah,
and,
even the sooty stuff.
Yeah. Which looking forward to speaking to him next week.
Yeah, he'll be it.
Yeah. Although he won't be able to tell us if he's been abused.
No. He has been.
Oh, brilliant. Anyway, so keep the conversation going. Like I said, we've got an ACP Slack channel. How do they join the Slack, guys?
Just ask any one of us, and there'll be a link.
Code you can get in. Sometimes we put it on the Slack.
We got a bit of a weird person this week, so I wonder whether we just do people who contact us.
Maybe invite. Yeah.
We got I don't want to draw conclusions from people's email addresses, but it was a bit of a weird one.
Well,
okay.
Say no more.
But people on the internet sounds.
That sounds weird.
Anyway, I'm meeting them for a drink next week.
Yeah,
so,
lovely. Let me know what they're like. Bring Sooty.
Suck it and see.
Yep, always a good. It's not going to suck itself.
But let's talk about some things that don't suck. Do we have any shout outs this week, gents? That was a good segue. Come on, I'm back in the game.
That's better than me. Someone's died segue we had to do earlier.
Yeah.
Right, ready. Bridlington Comic Con is back on the way and back in my diary. Sunday, the 7th of September, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Bridlington Spa. Andy Hample's the organizer, and he's a good chap, man, and this is a fun event, and he's doing the right thing, offering free tables for small press comics folk, and it's got a dedicated area just for comics people. There is quite a lot of traffic at this convention because he has it's a pop culture convention. He makes no bones about it, but he wants comics in the word Comic Con, and that's what he's doing. You can find him on Instagram at BridComicCon, the website BridComicCon.com, or if you're in the Slack, you can just message him on there. That's how I speak to him normally. But he's just looking for people who are going to come along. So please do reach out. I love that event. Last year, me, Falpy, and a couple of others, Canon, had ice creams on the prom. It was quite nice.
Nice one.
Yeah. Yep. The Gerald Scarf podcast I did over at NIA is now up and available. Big thanks to Eamon Clark for coming on. Really, man, the research we've been doing for it is like, oh my god, it was such fun, such a beautiful fucking artist to investigate. I also recorded a Mega City book club with him, which should be coming in a couple of weeks, I think, which is very, very comics heavy with a lovely bit of British comics history. Really interested for you guys to
I'm
hear.
behind on these. I'll go get fucking.
Oh man, I had great fun on that. And thanks to everyone who came to the Drink and Draw on Friday. It was a really good laugh. And some really, really good art and show. Some just gorgeous stuff. Even Simon drew something with a branch of a tree.
Wow.
And it looked fucking amazing.
I did see some of the stuff after I'd left. They'd been posted in the Slack.
Oh man, that was some great. JWC was there. Yeah, big shout, JWC. She only did the 2 pages of multiple images, but she wasn't there that long. But yeah, just some really. That's just the tip of the iceberg of the people that are there long drawing, and we did have a good chuckle. Yep.
Nice. Dan, what have you got?
I've got 2, maybe 3 shouts. First one, a Kickstarter for the Distinctly British Comics, a brand new exciting creator owned cosmic comic with more bite than a British bulldog and more punch than Punch Drunk Punk. I did that okay this week.
Yeah, well done.
From Sam Weller. There's an absolute cavalcade of titles in this one from up and coming British creators. Do go check it out. It's got a couple of weeks to run. It's almost smashed its target, so a few quid into that wouldn't go amiss. We've got Archie's Comics, Archer's Comics, new Truro comic shop opened up in Cornwall. It opened up yesterday, so that'll be like a free comic book day.
All right, oh wow,
well done. Hope it went well.
That's first floor, 30 River Street, Truro, TR1 2SJ. Do go check it out. There's some photos. I pulled this info from downthetubes.net. But if you look for Archer's Comics in
that's one Rory messaged about, isn't it?
Exactly the one. Hopefully we'll get talking to him and see how he's getting on.
Yeah.
Open up a new comics store. That's
nice to see all these comic shops popping up.
Yeah,
yes.
Totally.
Yeah, very Brilliant. Much
so. I decided to redraw the New Warriors
cover. Yeah, I saw that, man. Yeah.
To kind of, you spied out like the autocorrect did. I put Firestar and it changed it to Firestorm or some shit like that. Yeah. So thanks to you, I amended it. It came through as I was driving. I was like, oh shit, what have I done?
So it was one of the. I think I said to you, I don't want to be that guy because I hate getting that sort of email.
Be that guy, man.
Yeah.
So sorted that out, but yeah, all good. And obviously, what can go without mentioning Lawless, 24th, 25th of May, 2025, Doubletree Bar Hilton Hotel, Bristol, B51 6NJ. You can listen to last week's episode where Tony and Sue went over the event briefly. Do go check that out because that's only in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's coming quick, isn't it?
Yeah. The year is just disappearing in front of our very eyes. But what doesn't disappear in front of our eyes is the wonderful comics we're reading. And it's now that time of the show to talk about them. Maybe get you to put them on your wish list or check them out or wherever. We've got a few this week. So, Tony, what do you want to start us off with?
Let's start with John Bentine's Fargo, Hell on Wheels, which is an adaptation of Howard Chaykin to come out through Zoop. Took about a year to percolate and get out. For me, worth it. Published between Zoop and something called Gizmo Press, which I'm guessing is something to do with Howard. Fargo was originally a 1976 novel by Bentine, a modern Western pulp character. I'm into these sort of adventure books, and in a way, very similar to the ones I read. Although I have bought one of his novels. I've ordered it on eBay. These novels are designed to be read by commuters, so they're fairly short. They'll read them in a week, and then they'll throw them away, and they'll get the next book. It's a bit like that, throwaway, but it's just good, solid adventure storytelling. So adapted by Howard. I think when we had Jordan on from Zoop over a year ago, he talked about this. Do you remember? At least he hinted at it. I'm not sure it was on mic or off mic, to be fair. Colours by Yen Nitro. That's a name, isn't it? Digital production and lettering by Chaykin's regular contributor, Ken Bruzenak. And it's a really interesting dedicated to. Oh, this just... Can you see that picture there? Dedicated to Carl Weathers.
Amazing.
Now that's
awesome.
It's really cool because Carl ended up becoming a friend of the publisher, and he would just message him and say, "How's Howard getting on with Fargo?" And they become friends after that. He just was obviously into this cowboy character, And Carl Weathers, God bless him, much missed.
Yeah, very much so.
It's a hardback release. No frills with it, although you got a bookmark. God bless Howard. Honestly, go and sign up for his Substack. Some of the best written stuff you're going to read. He also mentions the game and law fair that's going on at the moment in there this week. Very interesting. It's on really nice. I think it makes a difference because this is kind of new Howard, modern Howard, and it's on matte paper, which I think makes a big difference. There's no reflective quality to that paper. If you can, I'm showing it to the boys. You can see.
Yeah, I love that. I love that kind of paper.
Me too, man. It should
also
be
smells really nice.
Yeah. It should be what it's all printed on, as far as I'm concerned. So, as a lot of these sort of novel series and comics of the 70s and 80s, the main character is just fucking undefeatable, hard as nails bastard. He can't be beaten. He's peerless with a revolver, a rifle, a shotgun, his fists, outplanning the enemy. He's just one of those kind of guys. He's a massive hit with the ladies. He can't walk down the street without getting hit on. He pulls this girl in it and ends up having sex with her in the bath. There's a lot of that going on in it. God bless him. You can see I've ordered some of the stories of people. So it opens with he's skint Fargo. He's got no money. He's jumped a train to get to a place called Junction Flats in Idaho. And he gets on the train and he's confronted by this sort of bruiser, this fighter, who turns up later. Roughhouser, I believe is the phrase they used back then. And they have this geezer called Landslide, believe it or not. So they have a tear up. Of course, Fargo comes out on top.
Is that his name, Landslide?
Yeah,
that's a great name. That's a great name.
Yeah. Almost goes riptide. But they have a tear up, and of course Fargo wins, which obviously makes an enemy of this dude. And he gets into town. As he's walking into town, he has to knock back some prostitutes who hit on him, obviously. And it turns out there's two competing crews in this town, and they're looking to control the railways because they give them access to a silver mine in the area. It's a big silver rush that's going on. And there's this dude called Hawk Morrison, and he runs one of the lines, and he tries to hire Fargo, and Fargo says, not having that, man. So he ends up falling in with the much more nicer, normal dad-daughter team who are running the other sort of railway thing. And then, of course, he ends up boning the daughter, Ellen Whitmore. He's a stone cold killer, as a lot of these characters are. I recently read some of the Edge books, the New English Library Westerns. They're all stone cold killers, but he's got an honourable streak about him. He knows that he does the right thing, even though he kills a lot of people into doing it. It's just a great read. There's no massive fucking subtext going on. It's not comparing it to fucking Trump's new cabinet or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like all this sort of crap that we've done. It's modern Chaykin art wise. He draws the sort of hard man aspect aesthetic really well. And there's a little bit of his sexy ladies that remind me of the sexy ladies that used to be in American Flag. You guys read American Flag? I can't remember.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I haven't.
The fashion back then was the fashion in the future of American Flag, which I think is now our past, is that the women all wear like underwear.
Yeah.
So back then, which seemed to be a sort of sophomoric fucking, pubescent boy's dream of women are just naturally walk around their underwear. Fuck me, have you been out in London recently? It's come true. And there's a little bit of that in them as well. And from page one, he's jumping a train, he's in a fight, he's either in a fight or a gunfight, or you feel the tension that one is about to happen. And that's the nature of this sort of fiction. And it fucking bowls along. It absolutely rolls along. Chaykin absolutely knows. I read this, and then I read about 10, 12 DC and Marvel comics. I was catching up on my pile, and they are plotted in no way comparatively to this book. It is perfectly plotted to make it an enjoyable comic book. You know, all this fucking bullshit you see in the X-Men about people putting hats on for 3 pages or something.
Oh.
You don't get that shit in this Fargo book. It's just fucking lovely. Yeah. He gets the Western set. There's one of my favourite bits. He's riding on it because there's a lot of this takes place on the railway, and he's riding on the front of a steam train, going across this gap between the hills, and someone's shooting at him, and you feel the tension. He does it so well. Yeah, there's a bit of back matter in it as well. I won't ruin the ending to it, but the fucking people they have got on the pin-up pages. Let me just read some of them to you. Mahmoud Asrar, Geordie Bonet, Frank Cho, Dennis Cowan, Steve Epting, Gary Frank, Ron Garney, Butch Guise, Cully Hamner, Dave Johnson, get this, Michael Kaluta, Enrico Marini, fucking Enrico Marini's in this book.
Wow.
Dan Panosian, Eduardo Riso, Walt Simonson, don't forget he was at Upstart Studios with Walt Simonson, Dalibor Talajic, who I've got some smart just sitting in front of me, and Lee Weeks. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, man.
Talk about
that's fucking all-star.
That's the best.
Yeah.
You know. I got mine from Zoop. I'm not sure if you can. I'm not sure if they. I think they might be one of those ones you can go in and buy it still from Zoop, or you can go to Gizmo Press, GIZMOE, gizmopress.com, and find it there. Go and sign up as well to Howard Chaykin's Substack. Just some great stuff on there. Self-effacing, self-deprecating, but just beautifully written stuff. Fargo, Hell on Wheels. As I said, I think earlier, there's an advert in the back of this for the next John Bentine's Fargo will return. Join us in 2025 as writer Howard Chaykin and artist Butch Guise adapt the second Fargo adventure, Panama Gold. I'm not sure about that now, to be honest. I don't know whether it's going to happen. I mean, I know that Butch Guise was a bit of a machine, so I don't know, he may have drawn it already. But yeah, we'll see. Yep. Yeah, that's my first one.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, I'll jump in just quickly. I've got a sort of a scattershot, sort of shotgun blast of a bunch of like just minor sort of recommendations. I mentioned it loads of times, but Something is Killing the Children, issue 41, it's come back. I think I have a little bit of break. I know there's ongoing things with the House of Slaughter and House of Butcher and all that stuff. But the main jam, my favourite comic book, is back, and it's delving into some of the back matter, the prequel stuff, which was always fascinating. I love that, like in any sort of thing where, there was so much to a character before issue 1 started, and it gives it time to tell that. I mean, it's issue 40, and now we're finding out. I think we're going to know what that trauma came from. Do you know what I mean?
They've held their water for a few issues there, haven't they?
Yeah. And it's been allowed to sort of, the main story's been allowed to be its own thing, while the world has expanded beyond that and done its own thing. But the main series is, if you just want to read the main series, just read that. So that's just more the same. The only problem with it, it's like binge watching, binge listening, binge anything, binge reading. Problem is, now I'm all caught up. I've got to wait. Yeah. I've got to wait for every month now, which is a beautiful problem.
Feeding you single issues,
yeah. It's a beautiful problem to have, though. It just means that at first it's an annoyance, and then you realise, oh no, I've got the excitement back. That every 4 weeks there's going to be around that. There'll be a new issue, so that's good. More of the same. I did a couple of the issues. I'm not going to mention the titles, but I was telling the chaps before we started. There was a few sort of horror comics. There was an issue 1 of a particular series. I think I read the first 2 issues actually recently. I think there's a couple of Mad Cave titles, and I'm always usually checking out Mad Cave. They seem to be absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
And whether it be from the title or from the covers, they seem to be my jam, and they just weren't hitting it. In fact, even this title that I got 3 issues into, and I thought, this is really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going. The wheels have fallen off, which, I mean, it hasn't become awful, but I was just sort of like, and I feel sometimes, especially with a lot of indie and independent sort of published books, when they're singular miniseries, they start off the blocks really well. But by issue 4, if it's by the final issue, whether it be 4 or 6, it's either it's run out of steam, it's treading water. They have real problems sometimes. The landing, sticking the landing, as they say. So there's been many times where I've been like, oh, I really enjoyed this issue, I'm going to keep going with it. I have kept going with it, and then it's interesting. If it's a 5-6 issue series, I'm going to use this as a segue for a miniature question here. If it's a 5-issue series, issue 1, great start. You get to issue 3, you're still in it. You're not quite sure where it's going, but the quality is still ticking along. Issue 4, the wheels begin to fall off, or you're not sure about it anymore. Do you buy the last 2 issues because you're in it?
Yeah, I do, man. I don't know why. Sometimes I buy them, I don't even read them. I kind of feel like I have to. It's part of my sort of collector mentality sometimes.
It's an issue. Should we? Do you think that's just down to the individual reader that sometimes we should just cut our losses?
I've done some terrible things. For example, I bought a new.
I know that.
Yeah, we obviously know that. Yeah, but the Shanghai Shotgun again. But I've bought the first issue thinking this looks like an interesting series, and then I bought like 5 issues and haven't read any of them yet. And then I go to read them, I think, fuck me, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So I haven't read the next. That's bad.
Yeah.
I go back and read. I'm doing that all the time. Oh, was it Joe was saying that? I think Joe was saying it on the Slack. He'd done the same with something.
Yeah.
Was it Alan Purdy? I can't remember now. I can't remember.
It's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Because it brings up the wait for the trade debate. If it's an issue 1 and you really enjoyed it, do you think, oh, I really enjoyed that? Do I wait for the trade? Because it sounds terrible to say it because
not everything comes out in trade though these days.
No,
that's the problem.
It doesn't. You're right.
And single issues are such a lifeblood for a lot of like miniseries and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes if nobody's buying, I know we're a drop in the ocean, but if nobody's buying issue 2, it ain't gonna. Was it what was the book that we read out of Dark Horse? What was the book that our buddy did? And it stopped mid series, and because no one's buying it.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it became an only digital release.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate. I think.
What about fucking Out of Darkness?
Why you got to do that?
Yeah, Breaker's Heart. Yeah. I've heard of that. Was that? Yeah.
Still hurts. Still hurts. And the final one, which I just want to briefly mention, it's not so much a recommendation. It's almost like I finally started to read this. I started to read Locke and Key, the collections. And this is purely to say, and I don't know if anyone else out there has these sort of reading habits. It's a series I've obviously known about. If you've been around the comics sort of spectrum over the past 20 years, you've heard about it because it was big doings. But when it comes to these series that have these long runs, and it's the same with a lot of things, like a Vertigo series that's been out and stuff. Or things like that, they have 60 issues. I bide my time with a lot of these things. I wait out to see when everyone else has stopped talking about it, when it becomes the hotness, when people have stopped recommending it to me. Have you ever had that sometimes?
Yeah.
People recommend it all the time and you're like...
I feel the weight of it, expectation
and
as
I'm
well.
like, if anyone recommends it to me, I'm not going to check it out because you almost make a stubborn sort of like, I don't want to. I don't want to now. I want to do it when I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I started Locke and Key, which is it's a fucking beautiful book. Absolutely. It's Gabriel Rodriguez, isn't it? Who worked on the whole
Is
thing.
that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wrote it?
Joe Hill.
Joe Hill, of course it is. Yeah.
Okay,
And I'm a fan of quite a few of his books. It's a very written series, very heavily written, and paced almost novel-like as well. So I'm enjoying it for what it is. I think it's one of those things I need to get to the end of that. It's not 60 issues, but you know what I mean. get to the end of the Preacher run before you can look back and go, okay, so how did that work as a whole? Because it does feel like a longer form story, which is one of the nice things about it. And to be fair, kind of brave to do with a comic book series sometimes, to start an issue 1 and be like, yeah, I think we've got about 6 trades in this.
Yeah.
Because normally they don't have the... I mean, this one had wheels and legs and had a legion of fans.
TV series, wasn't there a TV series?
Yeah, they tried to remake it a few times, then it got made, and I think it got cancelled after season 2. I haven't.
Oh, right, because there was like a movie that did the rounds. I think they showed it at a couple of comic conventions, didn't they? That never got. It was like a pilot.
Yeah.
Before that, yeah.
And to be honest, reading it, I think it probably works better as the actual sort of what it's meant to be, the graphic novel, because there's this sort of
all right too.
Yeah, stuff going on, and
don't need any of that television muck.
Yeah. It's a very dark series. It is very dark.
I just looked up. I thought, had they done a comic of Nosferatu? You know, Joe Hill.
Yeah.
They did a TV show that they've done a prequel. But
right, yeah. I really enjoyed that book.
It's pretty good, that one.
Really good, that one. So that's my one. It was more a case of I was reading a lot of comics. They weren't not necessarily stuff I wanted to, that I could say I'd recommend. But with something like Lock and Key or any particular series, like a big series that everyone went on about, I was literally thinking, what can I check out? I know I've been meaning to read this. Yeah, I think it's nice to dust off one of the sort of not a
when people talk about it so much, it kind of like puts me off in a way.
Yeah,
me too, man.
Yeah,
mostly when idiots talk about it, it puts me off.
Yeah. So, and he's not talking about us. You're not talking about us, are you?
No baby cakes.
Okay, never.
Dan, what have you got?
I had a couple of things. I was I'm in an iron what I was going to do, and I did read through my back stuff on Global and up to speed on G.I. Joe, Transformers. They got some Silent Mission G.I. Joe comics on there, or one of them, which is, they did
the
that
Roadblock one's fucking brilliant. Have you read the Roadblock one?
No, I've not read that one.
No, I've not read it.
Dude, I've got
This is going to be our next reading challenge for me, G.I. Joe. I haven't read any of it.
And I think you really dig it.
Should we set a reading challenge today?
Who did the Roadblock one?
We could do it.
Let's do it next week.
For the next, for the end of the show, month of the show.
Yeah.
May.
Let's think of one this week, and then we'll set it next week for the end of the month. Yeah.
But the one I'm going to talk about is Shah, book 1.
Oh, nice.
Pat Mills and
now, the thing is with this one is I'm guessing you backed the digital tier.
I backed digital.
Yeah, I backed the physical. So then they're not sending out a digital to people who back the physical. You're only getting the physical.
So
I haven't had it yet.
They've released this in France, haven't they?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Because it's frustrating because I got to the end of it. I was like, I want the next bit immediately.
Right. I'm hoping that'll be soon then. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted it straight away, and it's an absolutely great premise, and told in the style like Pat with Oliver's artwork is this fucking something else. They kind of create a world which is absolutely horrible and without mercy,
packed with images, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really kind of like, oh god, I'm in this, and it starts off with a witch trial in the 15th century where an inquisition has kind of got a young 16-year-old girl called Lara. And Pat drawing on kind of literature of the age to tell you kind of like the misery that she goes through in her final moments, but she sort of swears revenge on all the people that kind of brought her down, and then it jumps forward to the 21st century in America, spelled with a K, a city called New Eden, and a goddess called Shah, which is like a shadow-like entity, starts getting payback for what happened to the young Lara. There's a character in it, Duffy, that doesn't explicitly say it. She's like a police detective that looks very similar to the young Lara girl who is a witch.
Right.
And I think there might be a reincarnation thing going on there, but it's just absolutely like, if you love stuff like, I'm sure many listeners do, like martial law,
Vampire
everything's
Night.
Pat done. Yeah, Vampire Night. It's all in here, man. It's absolutely fucking gold. Like I said, the only bad thing I've got to say about it is that it ended and I wanted more immediately, because I was like, where does this fucking story go? Because I was so in it. And the world Pat builds, and especially with Oliver, like, they're so real but fucking horrible. I would never want to live in this future. Like the world of Nemesis and Torquemada. It's like,
just nightmarish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost tangible, but like, they come across like a nightmarish quality to it. fantastic. And Pat's one of my favorite storytellers.
Another great Substack you should sign up for. So much good stuff on there.
Yeah, it's one of the few that I actually do. It's like
nice.
lots of good content on there.
He's done a post about Shah. I think it was about 9-10 months ago. I revisited that today, and he talks about the book, and it's an absolutely joy to read once you've read the book, before and after.
Yeah,
I would love to think if they do this as all three books combined in English, I'd be fucking. I'm regretting not buying the physical, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I ended up buying the normal tier of the physical, and then feeling massive FOMO that I wasn't getting this sort of gilt hardback leather bound kind of version of it. So upping my pledge for that one. He's killing me on Kickstarter, Pat, at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah,
they just had another one fund. Yeah, another one on the way.
Well, Pat was trying to find his niche of like how can he get his books out to the audience, and I think he's found his way. And
I think so.
It goes well for him.
I think he's got a bright future in comics, that kid.
We might hear about it soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back to that, just briefly, that G.I. Joe Silent Missions, because I've only just discovered it, Dan. Andrew Crank wrote he was the writer and artist for the Roadblock series. If you know that name, he did Bloodrick.
Oh, okay.
Okay, man, that's going to be fucking good then.
And when we were talking about Bloodrick, we were talking about, this is an artist who, like, if he does this sort of stuff, he's a fucking talent, this bloke, from that issue. And I love, it's just full-on action. Brilliant stuff.
I must read this stuff, guys.
Yeah.
But
and also, I think a silent issue's just, it's for everyone, isn't it? A silent issue should be. You should be able to get, that's almost a perfect gateway in a lot of ways.
Easy foreign sales. Yeah. If you get a chance, guys, send me something you can recommend with G.I. Joe.
Yeah, right.
Not the current run. Any old
stuff. I think some of that newer stuff is probably going to be the easier thing because, like, the older lore.
I've read the newer stuff. I haven't read the main G.I. Joe, but I've read the spin-off books.
Yeah,
I get into that bit where they start going into the ninja stuff for the first time because that is fucking peak. That is
right. Okay.
Yeah. I'll dig that out.
Yeah. Tony, dig us out of this episode and
couple
take
of quick
us home.
hits. Hellhunters 5-issue miniseries. The last issue just came out. One of those books from Marvel that has had zero fanfare.
I literally hadn't heard of it.
Nobody's heard about it. I don't understand.
Even if I had seen it on a scroll, the covers probably would have been fairly weak, and I would have scrolled past it.
The weirdest things get like constant repeat, advert talked about, and this didn't. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who I think is a good writer. Art by Adam Gorham. Lovely art, man, lovely. Letters by VC's Travis Lenham. It's Second World War. It's a little bit Invaders, a little bit Hellblazer, Fury, Bucky, Logan, Ghost Rider, and the Soldier Supreme, aka Sebastian Skardos. They fight vampires and demons in the snowy areas on the fringes of the Second World War. They're all disobeying orders. Some of them are growing wings. There's massive ice demons. It's fucking great. Now, these are the two people. If you imagine you've got Leinil Francis Yu here, and you've got Chris Samney here, put Adam Gorham somewhere in the middle, style-wise, in that sort of stretch over. Beautiful. No bullshit. No fucking rubbish. No ties into other bullshit titles. No fucking X-Men shit. This is just full-on good storytelling. Really good. Go find it. I suspect there'll be a trade of it. I hope there will be a trade of it. It's 5-issue minutes. It says not the end at the end of it, which usually means the end. But on the last page. And the other one, Redcoat 11, just came out. Just got it today. Jeff Johns, Brian Hitch, Brad Anderson. Gorgeous wraparound cover. We get the first proper appearance of the Northerner. He's appeared and been hinted at in various issues through the line, but he's part of the Unnamed Universe, so his appearance is also going to affect Junkyard Joe and Geiger as well. There's possible appearances of that. He's it's a classic Marvel thing. When they meet up, they don't get on, they have a fight, but I think they're going to team up. The image of the cover for the next issue is them, both of them strapped to the front of cannons, and the cannons are both going to fire. It's just amazing. Beautiful stuff. He's going to be a big part of this mythology of that they're building up across this Unnamed Universe at the moment. I mean, Ghost Machine, peerless comics as always. The cover B, I do occasionally double dip on the books of this series because they're so good. And cover B's by Gary Frank and Brad Anderson. And if you go and have a look at the regular covers for 12 and 13, they're also wraparound ones. And they have been for a while now, for a couple of issues that we've had this sort of wraparound thing. But Redcoat continues to be Hitch, full peak at his best Hitch. But they seem to be coming out, 10 issues a year?
Man, he's doing it, yeah.
Really is. And even on Geiger, we've had a couple of fill-in issues. But I don't think we've had a fill-in issue on Redcoat. I don't think so. I can remember. And the draw, there's more on 2 pages of this. They're in whole issues of DC Comics than them. Yeah, just gorgeous, amazing stuff. But go and get it. Go and get on. This one is Redcoat 11 is the start of the next arc. You see what I mean? Okay, so it's not a bad place to jump on, I'd say. Yeah, they're my 2 guys.
Nice.
Oh, great, man. Nice.
And what a 2 to finish off the first week of 3 aMAYgos, or May, as we like to call it in the world.
They'll start calling it aMAYgos soon.
Yeah, everyone will. But we hope you enjoyed this week's episode. It's been a lot of fun kicking off. The time has flown by, and we feel like...
Fucking hell, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been some sort of quality discussed in some kind of way. There's certainly been opinions.
We're trying our best.
Yeah, there's certainly been opinions, and of course, all opinions vary, and all are valid. Ours are more valid than anyone else.
Deepens.
The mystery deepens.
The mystery deepens. I should call the episode that, actually. That would be quite good.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, keep the conversation going in several different ways. Obviously, we talked about the Slack, but you can get in touch with us as well. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. If there's anything that's discussed you want, or any potential topics or questions you have for future shows, please do get in touch with us there. Likewise, if you're an indie comic creator who has made your comic yourself without any help from anyone else,
from the devil's window,
get in touch, and please email us. Send us a copy of it. Ask us to check it out, and we will. And I tell you what, reference episode 314. Not 314, not 514. Fucking hell, where's the time going? 514, and we'll definitely check it out and give it a shout.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
So, it's almost a timestamp that. Mention that, and we know you've listened.
Yeah.
We'll know you've listened.
I'm going to hazard a guess that quite a few that we get haven't.
Yeah.
I won't name him.
Comics Press.
I won't name him because he's an older gentleman, but he has been on the show. He did message us and they say, "Do you have guests on?" And I said, "Fuck me, bleep. You've been on the show, mate."
Oh dear. And of course, we will have some new voices in the future. But so get in touch with us there. You can find us on social media at Awesome Comics Pod on Instagram, where we'll be posting just cool bits of the comics we talk about. Keep the conversation going. Maybe some positivity to send you forth.
We've been quite positive this week. Usually we get in a bit of a moan, don't we?
Yeah,
right.
We've got a month for that, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we
got a day off tomorrow.
Oh wow, yeah, it's bank holiday. You can find us on X at the Awesome Pod, but to be honest, we're rarely on there. So
might not reply to you.
There'll be a point soon where we probably won't be there. But we're also on awesomecomics.podbean.com, so thank you for listening there, or on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and leave a review. It helps get the word out about the show and everything we talk about on a weekly basis. Likewise on Spotify, if you listen there, you can just give us a nice sort of check mark or 5 stars or whatever. I mean, why would anyone ask for anything less? I know it sounds stupid, but
we haven't had a review for over a year.
Yeah, don't need it, do we? We've gone beyond it now. Everyone knows there's no quality.
But
there's also
it's an empty vessel.
Absolutely, we're a derelict ship just floating on the sea. But we are also on Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What other networks are we on, Tony?
We're on the Pod Network. That's not my sausage.
If you had a barbecue this weekend, you probably know what he's talking about. Lovely weather in the UK.
Everyone play at home.
Yeah. There was a lot of jokes going through my head then, and I had to stop myself. So instead, let's sign off. Where can people find more of our, whatever we do, Tony?
Never on Anything or Tony EZ on Substack.
Nice. Dan?
Issue 23 of Vanguard just come to an end, so you can get up to speed on that.
Yes.
It's on Global Comics. I'll be doing some work for the Green Archery Boys and doing some work in progress stuff on the Patreon. So if you want to follow along on the Patreon, I do put up free public posts. Try to do one or two.
You're kicking ass on the Patreon at the moment, man.
Cheers, yeah. Trying to give people the bang for their buck. I'm going to hopefully be experimenting and putting some custom brushes I've made in Procreate on there. So
nice.
Nice.
I get a few little bits and bobs out of that.
Nice. And you can find me on social media at Jester Diablo. Thank you very much for listening, folks. It's going to be a fun month. Keep joining us for more comic book chat. There'll be games, there'll be jokes, there'll be interesting comic book discussion, and most importantly, lots of great indie comic books to check out in the weeks ahead.
Yeah.
So join us back, same bat time, same bat channel, and we might even get Sooty on the show. I'm quite excited about this. So from all of us in ACB Towers, have a brilliant week. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive about comics, because you got to be positive because there's far too many of the negative people out there.
Yeah.
And
have no choice at this moment.
Yeah, just got to be. Yeah.
They talked about AI. Yeah. Fuck off.
Fuck off. Listen to the whole thing. You really say fuck it. Anyway, right. Which could be said about any episode. Anyway, time to say goodbye. Have a brilliant week. Read comics, and what else do they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bus driver.